The case extends far beyond Latah County, and that moving the trial hundreds of miles away would be inconvenient to witnesses and victims' families.
America's listening to Fox News.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here with urgent news. The world's central banks are making unprecedented moves, and it's time to pay attention. In 2022 and 2023, they bought more gold than ever before. And now in 2024, the trend is accelerating. Why? Because central banks have lost faith in the dollar. And in these uncertain times, gold is the ultimate safe haven. If you too are worried about the dollar, I urge you to take similar action by diversifying your IRA or 401k into gold with my trusted friends at Birch Gold Group. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word SECURE to 989898. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax advantage status. So text SECURE to 989898. That's SECURE to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
Hey everybody, this is Sarge.
And this is the Burgundy.
You're on Newswatch, late edition, on News Radio KYRO.
Stay tuned. Coming up at 18 after, we'll be back with all of East Central Missouri's news of the day on Newswatch, late edition.
Missouri Net News. I'm Elisa Nelson. More than half of the Show Me State is either in a drought or abnormally dry, according to the latest drought monitor map. 4 areas of moderate drought are now scattered across Missouri in southeast, southwest, and far western Missouri, and the north part of the Kansas City area. 3 drug companies are suing Missouri in an effort to block the rollout of a new state law that aims to help uninsured and low-income Missourians better access certain discounted drugs. Novartis, AstraZeneca, AbbVie, and the pharmaceutical industry's lobbying group have sued, arguing that Missouri is unconstitutionally getting involved in interstate commerce. The law bans drug makers from limiting 340B drug contracts between Missouri hospitals, healthcare centers, and local pharmacies. Rolla Senator Justin Brown says the law prioritizes patient care and reins in big pharma.
In the past decade, 10 hospitals have closed and many others have operated at a loss. My legislation can mean the difference between whether or not a hospital stays open or closes.
During a hearing this year, Pfizer, one of the drug companies suing Missouri, said the federal program mostly boosts the healthcare industry's bottom line, not the patients. On Sunday, the state of Missouri will begin enforcing Governor Mike Parson's executive order to crack down on psychoactive cannabis products.
Governor Parson says the products being targeted are often packaged to look like candy and can appeal to children, and they're sold at convenience stores and other businesses with liquor licenses. The only exceptions will be for products that come from a source approved by the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services. The executive order issued August 1st also requires the Division of Alcohol and Tobacco Control to file an emergency rule to forbid liquor license holders from selling psychoactive cannabis. But the rule has been blocked by Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft. In a statement, the Department of Health says the rejection of the emergency rule filing, quote, has no impact on their enforcing the executive order.
Marco Griffin reporting. This is Missouri Net.
Have you lost MoHealthNet? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
Do plans cover doctor visits?
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions?
All covered and more. Plus, with the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Summer is a great time for families, but you're so ready to get back in a routine at school, right? Part of getting ready for school is making sure your child is up to date on recommended vaccines. The Missouri Immunization Coalition is reminding you to visit your local health provider before school starts for immunizations to protect your child from potentially life-threatening diseases. See if your child is up to date on immunizations at moimmunize.org.
You've got the school supplies. Don't forget to immunize.
An increase in traffic is expected this Labor Day holiday weekend. Anthony Morbeth reports.
AAA is projecting that domestic travel will be 9% higher this Labor Day weekend compared to last year. International travel over the holiday weekend is up compared to last year, as is the cost to fly overseas. If you're planning on flying, plan on being at the airport 2 to 3 hours before liftoff.
Speaking of traffic, watch out for Mizzou football traffic. The team has its season opener with kickoff at 7 p.m. The Missouri State Auditor has been given the power to subpoena local governments and municipalities under a new law. Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick tells MissouriNet that the purpose is to give his office more investigative tools to address concerns related to waste, fraud, and mismanagement.
The smallest political subdivisions, in some cases very large ones, we can't access.
The Missouri legislature gave unanimous approval to the bill this year. This is MissouriNet.
Welcome to MegaNet. For slow internet, press 1. For indifferent customer service, press 2. For confusing pricing, press 3. For extremely long wait times, stay on the line. You are 87th in line, 85th in line, 87th in line, 85th in line, 85th in line.
Where there was frustration, now there's satisfaction.
Hello, this is Helen at Gateway Fiber. How may I help you?
Isn't it time you refreshed your internet provider? For more information, visit gatewayfiber.com.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stocks finishing mixed despite a sharp pullback in late afternoon trading, with the blue chip Dow clinching another record close, its 25th of the year, as investors digested AI chipmaker NVIDIA's earnings report and eagerly await key economic data on Friday with the release of the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, the PCE, or Personal Consumption Expenditures Index. The Dow up 244 points, the Nasdaq down 40, S&P 500 down a fraction. For most companies, a doubling in sales and earnings would count as a blowout quarter. Apparently, that wasn't the case for NVIDIA, the chip designer at the center of the AI craze. Investors' expectations were so elevated that its shares tumbled over 6%. Shares of Dell Technologies are jumping after hours after delivering better than expected results for its second quarter. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Hey, Donald Trump Jr. here. Central banks are buying gold at record amounts, and the trend is accelerating in 2024. They see the writing on the wall. The dollar is failing. Is gold the answer for you too? To find out, get a free info kit from Birch Gold Group by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. That's SHELTER to the number 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold, the only gold company I trust, right now.
Message and data rates may apply.
Mountain Dew Zero Sugar asks, ever wonder what it would be like to live in an alternate universe? One where everything seems to work just the opposite of the way you'd expect? Well, friends, welcome to the alternate universe of Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. The taste is nothing less than outrageously delicious. And Mountain Dew Zero Sugar comes in awesomely exhilarating flavors, like Original Dew Zero Sugar, Mountain Dew Spark Zero Sugar, and Mountain Dew Major Melon Zero Sugar. Try the incredible flavors of Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. Zero sugar, all dew.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Monsi Bolaños.
The Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry have agreed on a one-year, $62.6 million contract extension that will run through the 2026-2027 season. In the NFL, Jets head coach Robert Saleh says Mike Williams will be available to play in Week 1 against the 49ers. Now, holdouts continue in the NFL. 49ers wide receiver Brandon Ayuk was not seen on the practice field today. Bengals wide receiver Jamar Chase was at practice but did not participate. The Patriots announced that Jacoby Brissett will be their starting quarterback against the Bengals in their season opener over their third overall pick in this year's draft, Drake May. In Major League Baseball, the Mets and the Diamondbacks are tied at 2 apiece. It's the top of the 9th inning. And at the U.S. Open, world number 1 Iga Swiatek won her second round match in straight sets. American and 6th seed Jess Pegula also won her match in straight sets. And on the men's side, world number 1 Jannik Sinner won his match in straight sets.
It's 510 in East Central Missouri, and you're on the Newswatch PM edition. Traffic and weather together on the 10s. Starts right now.
East Central Missouri's News Radio KYRO. Depend on it.
Good News Radio KYRO traffic. There are delays getting heavier on I-70 going west. You'll jam up briefly at Highway 79. Beyond that, your trouble-free toward Wentzville towards 61. Now heading toward Lake St. Louis. Be prepared for a heavy backup on 64 west near 364. Otherwise, just a little sluggish around toward I-70. And Highway 79 going north off of I-70. You'll find brief delays all off and towards St. Paul around toward North Main Street. That's the latest News Radio KYRO traffic. I'm Rick Dixon.
News Radio KYRO weather from the Meyer & Company Real Estate and Auctions Weather Center, online at MeyerListings.com. Broken clouds in Troy, getting down to 68 overnight tonight. Friday's high will be in the upper 90s, heavy intensity rain likely. Temperatures in the upper 80s forecast on Saturday. Currently in Troy it's 95. In Warrenton it's 93 degrees. Perfect homes, commercial real estate or farm ground, Meyer & Company Real Estate and Auctions, online at MeyerListings.com. I'm Erica Walters.
Trax Pizza. Outstanding pizzas, sandwiches, and pasta. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. Open daily at 3 p.m. Order online at TraxPizzaCompany.com. Call 264-8600 or come see us on Main Street in historic downtown Winfield. Trax Pizza, 264-8600.
When you've got a plumbing emergency in Pike, Lincoln, St. Charles, or Warren County, call Frank the Plumber. 25 years experience, licensed and insured, and emergency response available. Call 636-236-2190.
Hi, this is Frank the Plumber. For all your plumbing needs, give me a call.
Call Frank the Plumber.
636-236-2190.
The very latest ag news from the Brownfield Network, brought to you this hour by the Wrecking Crew in Troy, Winfield, and Vandalia. Call 636-462-1727.
Cattle were lower Thursday. Hogs, corn, and soybeans finished higher. I'm John Perkins with a Brownfield Market Update. Stein's focus on delivering higher-yielding genetics faster than the competition is why they've released more Enlist E3 lines than any other company. Stein has yield. Soybeans were higher. Recent hot, dry weather in some areas has likely had at least some impact on yield potential. Old crop exports on beans were net cancellation, but new crop sales were strong. September soybeans were up 15 1/4 at 973 3/4. November was 15 1/2 higher at 992 1/2. Ahead of Friday's first notice day, September soybean meal was down 220 at 308.60. September soybean oil was up 137 at 43.17. Corn was higher, monitoring late development weather and early harvest results. New crop corn export sales were bullish, with U.S. corn the most competitively priced on the market. September was up 6 1/2 at 371 3/4. December was 5 1/4 higher at 396. And wheat was higher. U.S. spring wheat yields are solid, but there are quality concerns in parts of the northern U.S. plains. Hot, dry weather is an issue ahead of winter wheat planting in parts of the plains and Midwest. September Chicago was 10 3/4 higher at 525. September Kansas City was up 3/4 at 545 1/2. September Minneapolis wheat was 8 higher at 562 1/2. Live and feeder cattle were lower, watching direct cash cattle business develop. Megan Grebner will have much more on that in just a moment. October live was down 72 at 177.90. December was $1.07 lower at 176.70. September feeder cattle were down 180 at 239.50. October feeders were $1.90 lower at 236.67. And after spending much of the session mixed, hogs were up on short covering and the solid week for pork export sales. October lean was 50 higher at 82.17, and December was up 62 at 72.55. Megan Grebner will have that full look at the cash livestock markets coming up after this brief break.
Lower costs, improve efficiency, increase yields. That's how MFA's NutriTrack program can benefit your farm. NutriTrack Precision Technology helps manage soil nutrients acre by acre, providing the information you need to make data-driven decisions. Grid sampling, zone maps, and variable rate application can put more fertilizer where you need it and less where you don't. It's an investment that can make a big difference through more production and more profit. See your fields in a whole new way with NutriTrack, only from MFA, your whole farm solution.
The Missouri Department of Agriculture wants you to know that black vultures can be harmful to livestock operations. Make sure you know the difference between the black vulture and the turkey vulture. The black vulture has a black head, while the turkey vulture has a red head. Also, the turkey vulture is larger in both size and wingspan. Mitigation resources for your farm can be found on MDA's website at agriculture.mo.gov. That's agriculture.mo.gov.
The moderate direct cash cattle trade took place Thursday in Nebraska. Live deals were at $184, and dressed business was at $292. That's about $2 below the previous week's weighted average basis. Southern live deals were reported at $183. That's about steady with the prior week's business. Boxed beef closed mixed with light to moderate demand for heavy offerings. Choice up $1.37 at $308.66. Select closed $1.44 lower at $296.19. Estimated cattle slaughter was 123,000 head, down 2,000 on the week and down more than 1,000 on the year. Cash hogs closed lower with a light negotiated run. Barrows and gilt at the National Daily Direct down $1.20 with a weighted average of 76.55. The Western Corn Belt was down $1.17 with a weighted average of 76.58. Pork values closed higher, up 61 cents at 95.89, and estimated hog slaughter was 485,000 head, up 3,000 on the week and up about 17,000 on the year. I'm Megan Grebner for Brownfield.
What's going on, everybody? This is your political savior of Missouri, Mark Bland, and the host of the Q Now. Are you excited? Because we are coming to you every Thursday night live from 7 to 9 p.m. You can listen to the Q Now with Mark Bland and Jason Call right here on News Radio KYRO.com, 1280 a.m., 105.3 FM, KYRO. We're excited. We can't wait to see you. See ya every single Thursday night at 7 p.m.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're here for all of life's wins. Like when you get a new car, or new boat, or new driver, or when your son moves out, but your mom moves in, or you find out you're expecting again, or when one rental property turns into 2, then 20, or you realize they're all in Tornado Alley. Life is full of life events. Make sure you have the right policy for each of life's wins.
Call Sandy Turner at 107B North Lincoln Drive in Troy, 636-528-8443. Hi, everybody. This is the Burgundy.
That means I must be Dodd.
And we're out and about in Lincoln County, specifically in Troy, Missouri, at 406 South Lincoln Drive at Elliott Flooring. Now, Dodd, you've made some pretty famous commercials for Elliott Flooring over the years. What pops into your brain?
One of my very favorite ones I have done for them is when they did the duct tape square flooring. It is one of my very favorites. It's such a chic look in your house. You can go with some duct tape squares, and 6 duct tape comes in so many different colors. You can make it a multicolored floor.
You know, nothing ties the house together better than what you have on your flooring. It's a tough decision sometimes, but the experts at Elliott Flooring can help make that decision easy.
Well, of course they can. They are the very best in the business. They're veteran-owned, they're local-owned, and they are parts of your community, and they know what you need. All you have to do is ask them, show them some pictures, and they will say, man, that's a good pick. Or they'll say, dude, I don't think sheepskin is right for your floor.
Flooring solutions for your home. Contact Elliott today at 636-528-6334. Check them out on Facebook or Instagram or elliottfloor.com.
And very pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen. 18 minutes after the hour of 5 o'clock, we've got another traffic and weather update coming your way in about 2 minutes. It's doggone hot outside, Sarge.
Yes it is. It's not good.
No.
Drink water.
Drink lots of water.
That's right. Lots of great stuff going on here inside KYRO, though.
Yeah, and speaking of, we've got high school football kicking off tonight. It's a special edition of high school football on a Thursday. As the Troy Trojans, in about an hour and 40 minutes from now, will kick off their game with Ladue. And that'll be over at Troy High School.
That's right.
Just up Highway 47 from our palatial Gateway Fiber studios here.
And yourself and Steve Runge doing the play-by-play commentary for that one?
That is correct. And then coming up tomorrow night, it's another edition of high school football on a Friday night as Winfield welcomes in Fort Zumwalt South.
Yes.
You can hear that one right here as well. And kind of really happy to be doing a game, a couple of games with Steve, because, the rest of the season, we're probably not going to see each other.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, playoffs, and we can work a schedule out. But, this may be the only chance we get to work together all year.
And that's because starting next week on Fridays, each week, Steve will be doing the Troy games, and yourself will be doing the Winfield games, and they'll be being played both on those Friday nights. So
absolutely. And wall-to-wall football this year. Also, Mizzou playing tonight to take on Murray State. We will join that one in progress as soon as the Troy game is finalized. Mm-hmm. And you can hear that on here as well. 20 after the hour of 5 o'clock. Right now, let's get an up.
I-70, you'll find brief delays off and towards St. Paul, around toward North Main Street. That's the latest News Radio KYRO traffic. I'm Rick Dixon.
News Radio KYRO weather from the Meyer & Company Real Estate and Auctions Weather Center, online at MeyerListings.com. Broken clouds in Troy, getting down to 68 overnight tonight. Friday's high will be in the upper 90s, heavy intensity rain likely. Temperatures in the upper 80s forecast on Saturday. Currently in Troy it's 95. In Warrenton it's 93 degrees. Perfect homes, commercial real estate or farm ground, Meyer & Company Real Estate and Auctions, online at MeyerListings.com. I'm Erica Walters.
Old Monroe Lumber and Rental has the largest stocking lumber yard in the area and the best prices too. Bring in your building plans to Old Monroe Lumber and Rental for a complete material list from steel beams to doorknobs. And check out your windows, doors, siding, and trim in their 2,400 square foot showroom before you buy. Old Monroe Lumber and Rental will load it for you, and if it's more than you can haul, Old Monroe Lumber and Rental will deliver it free. Online at omlumber.com.
And welcome back, everybody. 22 minutes after the hour of 5 o'clock, and you're on the News Watch Late Edition, live and direct from the Gateway Fiber Studios. He's Sarge, I'm Burgundy. Again, high school football coming up tonight. We're about an hour and 38 minutes away from the kickoff of the 2024 season. And I tell you what, Sarge, with the regular season only being 10 games, it seems like you're at the halfway mark of the season within about a week. It's just the way it feels. But
it goes by quick.
I'm excited. It's a good opportunity to follow Winfield this year. Troy, I think, will have a fantastic season. They should have anyway. Mm-hmm. Mizzou's going to be really good. And, Kansas City, if they pull off their regular magic, this could be a pretty good football year.
Yeah, definitely.
The other things that we will be doing, I'll let you know about, is we will be broadcasting a college football game of the week from Westwood One. As well as the NFL primetime package, which is basically the Sunday night game and the Monday night game. Mm-hmm. Looking forward to that. Of course, Kansas City kicks off their season next Thursday, and they'll be the first up, and that's kind of exciting.
And, of course, we'll have every single Chiefs game right here on News Radio 105.3 FM, 1280 AM, KYRO.
And then before you know it, it'll be St. Louis Blues will be on the air. That's let's see, what is this? September, October, about a month and a week. A month and a week. Of course, I think in the last week of September, we should have a couple of their preseason games.
Nice.
Well, we always play one or two of those, kind of tune up for the regular season. It's an exciting time in the world of sports. Baseball's kind of culminating. Not so much good news for the Cardinals. As a matter of fact, you had some breaking roster news from the Birds. Why don't you give us that right now?
Yeah, so earlier this week, the Cardinals, they released a relief pitcher that they had gotten at the trade deadline, name of Sean Armstrong. He had gone 1-0 with a 2.84 ERA in 11 appearances with the Cardinals, and of course he was in a trade that featured the St. Louis Cardinals outfielder Dylan Carlson. And then also today, it a little bit shocked me a bit because Tommy Pham has also been released. Now, when we first picked him up and got him in that trade, he started, doing pretty well, but then after like 4 or 5 games started to taper off and really hasn't done much in the last week or so.
Well, that kind of tells me a little bit about how the Cardinals are viewing the rest of the season. I mean, they're by no means mathematically out of the possibility of making a wild card. Of course, it would be a stretch.
Yeah, it's a mountain to climb right now.
But they, they're not mathematically out of it, barring, a late season run. But the thing of it is, when you look at the remainder of their schedule, there is not a team on their schedule the rest of the season, about a month and a week of the season remaining, that is below 500.
Yeah.
So it's, to win series over the next month or so is going to be very difficult for them to do. And the other bad thing about, I talked to a friend of mine that went to the Cardinal game the other night. He said, man, there's like 5,000 people here.
Yeah.
Never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
I mean, even you go back, and the 1970s was arguably probably one of the worst decades for the Cardinals. I don't think that particular decade, I don't think they finished any better than second or third the entire decade.
Mm-hmm.
But you still had big crowds. You had big weeknight crowds. You had big businessman special crowds. But I think, man, this is horrible to say because, I've been a part of the Cardinals organization. We've had radio stations that have been part of the network. I have a lot of good friends that work down there.
Mm-hmm.
I just hate to see this happen because I think what it's showing is the unwillingness of the management of the Cardinals to make any kind of big moves or spend any kind of money on a roster. I think it's coming home to roost.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people are just not going to pay that kind of money for a horrible product.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've played well at times this year. And I'm not taking anything away. I'm not saying, the players aren't trying. I'm not saying this is not Cleveland. They haven't mailed it in like, they were back in the 80s. But what I am saying is I think this is more than anything frustration with the ownership and management for not doing anything. I mean, it's St. Louis is a medium market baseball market.
Yeah.
It's not a large market, probably not the smallest market. But where I'm going with this is, man, they have never spent money on players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and something interesting that they did yesterday for yesterday's game, they were giving tickets basically away for free. All you had to do was pay the fees on them, which ended up being like $4 or $5, something like that.
Yeah.
And still not a whole lot of takers on it.
I can remember back in the early 90s, back in the old place when they had the bleachers in late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Back when they had the bleacher seats and you could go in and watch the game for $5.
Yeah.
And the thing of it is, you knew half the people in there. We would come up after work. You could leave. I was living over in Southern Illinois at the time, could very comfortably leave work at 5 and get up there for a 7:10 or 7:05 first pitch. That was the good old days.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, good Lord, it seems like every Major League Baseball park in the United States is turning into Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as the pricing. And I don't know if baseball is just starting to gimmick their way out. I know there's some markets where they still do really well, attendance-wise. But, I mean, give you a good example. My dad, who was born and spent a lot of his childhood on the south side of Chicago, so they were White Sox fans. And, up and down Comiskey Park, not in the best neighborhood. But, it was like the anti-Cubs faction.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being said, you've never had huge crowds there. Even, 2006? I think it was 2006 when they won the World Series.
Yeah, 5 or 6. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. Even that year, they weren't having... the weekend games, I'm pretty sure, were sellouts. But the weekday games,
yeah,
it wasn't that over impressive. And this is a team that was, good Lord, 25 games over 500.
Yeah.
And, so I think you're starting to see that in St. Louis, to where people are just becoming disenchanted with the overall product because they feel like the ownership and the management of the ball club is just not doing anything to make them any better.
No, it doesn't seem like it. And then also, I was looking at something earlier this week of prices, hot dog prices. So they had a list of all of the teams and how much a hot dog cost at each venue.
Mm-hmm.
And at Busch Stadium, it's almost $9 just for one hot dog. I mean, hello, you're not going to get many takers even on a hot dog if it's going to be that expensive.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. It's a crazy time we live in right now.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And it's, it's going to get better down there or it's not.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you're going to see, I don't know if you'll ever see the crowds come back the way they used to be at Busch Stadium. And you go down there for a Tuesday night game and it's damn near a sellout.
Gosh, I hope so.
Yeah, but now you got like 3,000 to 5,000 people in the ballpark and the place just looks empty. You'll have more than that. I guarantee you'll have more than that at Troy High School tonight.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
So, okay. It's 5:30 of 5 o'clock. We got to get a traffic and weather update. Then the latest from Fox News. You're on the evening edition of Newswatch.
Good News Radio KYRO traffic. There are delays getting heavier on I-70 going west. You'll jam up briefly at Highway 79. Beyond that, you're trouble-free toward Wentzville towards 61. Now heading toward Lake St. Louis. Be prepared for a heavy backup on 64 west near 364. Otherwise, just a little sluggish around toward I-70. And Highway 79 going north off of I-70. You'll find brief delays all off and towards St. Paul around toward North Main Street. That's the latest News Radio KYRO traffic. I'm Rick Dixon.
News Radio KYRO weather from the Meyer & Company Real Estate and Auctions Weather Center, online at MeyerListings.com. Broken clouds in Troy, getting down to 68 overnight tonight. Friday's high will be in the upper 90s, heavy intensity rain likely. Temperatures in the upper 80s forecast on Saturday. Currently in Troy it's 95. In Warrenton it's 93 degrees. Perfect homes, commercial real estate, or farm ground? Meyer & Company Real Estate and Auctions, online at MeyerListings.com. I'm Erica Walters.
I'm Jack Callahan. Iran signaling it may be ready for talks with Washington.
Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, appears to have put out an olive branch, opening the doors to renewed negotiations with the U.S. over Iran's nuclear program.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon. The International Atomic Energy Agency reports Iran now has more than 300 pounds of enriched uranium. Vice President Harris recording an interview with CNN this afternoon with her running mate, her first extended interview since President Biden's campaign abdication. It'll air tonight. Former President Trump making campaign appearances in Michigan and Wisconsin. His running mate, Senator Vance, telling the Firefighters Union convention in Boston.
Donald Trump, I will tell you, sometimes, even when he has to fight his own party, he cares for working people. He's been fighting for them for his entire life in public service.
America is listening to Fox News.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here with urgent news. The world's central banks are making unprecedented moves, and it's time to pay attention. In 2022 and 2023, they bought more gold than ever before. And now in 2024, the trend is accelerating. Why? Because central banks have lost faith in the dollar. And in these uncertain times, gold is the ultimate safe haven. If you too are worried about the dollar, I urge you to take similar action by diversifying your IRA or 401k into gold with my trusted friends at Birch Gold Group.
To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word SECURE to 989898. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax advantage status. So text SECURE to 989898. That's SECURE to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
This moment of calm is brought to you by American National. Because life on the farm is stressful and insurance shouldn't be. American National. Relax. We're here. American National Property and Casualty Company and Affiliates, Springfield, Missouri.
Oh, yeah. It's 33 minutes after the hour of 5 o'clock. You're on Newswatch, late edition, from the Gateway Fiber Studios.
Yes, sir.
High school football coming up in an hour and a half, live from Troy High School. Troy taking on Ladue, and that one scheduled to kick off at 7.
Mm-hmm.
And just heads up for everybody. Probably a lot of breaks. There'll be an extra 4 breaks in the game. Mid-quarter, they'll take water breaks, which I think is a good idea.
Absolutely. It's 93 degrees right now.
Yeah.
So it's going to come down some by the time kickoff happens, but it's still going to be extremely warm out there.
Well, the funny thing is Mother Nature, as far as the weather, is going to have her way with the early season high school football schedule. Tonight, we've got the oppressive heat for the Troy game over in Troy. And then, of course, tomorrow night, we have a good chance of thunderstorms.
Mm-hmm.
So either way, Mother Nature is going to have her will be done.
Yep. Now, I've got a question for you. With thunderstorms, thunderstorms coming through, is the norm of just is it just sitting out and waiting until that storm passes through, and then even if it's like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, going ahead and playing that game, or do they go ahead and schedule it for the next day?
It depends on what the radar looks like. To be brutally honest with you, it depends. I mean, if you've got like a huge front coming in and it's going to storm for 3 or 4 hours, yeah, I've seen them go ahead and postpone the game. I've seen them postpone a game at halftime and play the second half the next day. But generally, if they can do it because primarily of referee scheduling, they'll try to get it in that time slot. I remember a couple of years ago, we did a game over at Warrenton, and this has been more than a couple of years ago. But anyway, we got to halftime, and it just started storming to beat the band. And the Misha rule is you have to wait X amount of time beyond the last lightning strike. So that being said, this can go on and on. You can go 20 minutes and then have a flash of lightning, and that clock starts all over again.
Yeah.
And I want to say we finally got the second half kicked off at around 10:30.
Oh, wow.
And we almost had another delay, but we finally got done with that game. It was a little bit before midnight. So, yeah, I mean, if they can at all, if they see a window of opportunity based on the radar, based on the intensity of the weather, they will do what they can to get it in. Now, obviously, both Troy and Winfield are artificial surfaces, so, mud and that kind of stuff is not really a factor. So that the field preparation anyway is not going to be that big of a deal. But yeah, I mean, they won't play in lightning.
And a good draining situation over there.
Yeah, and that's built into those fields. So, and I'm trying to think. I don't think there's a team in the GAC, and I could be wrong about this, but I don't think there's a team in the GAC conference that does not have artificial turf now.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, and it's an interesting topic, really. I have a friend of mine that used to work as a groundskeeper for one of the high schools. And so basically the high school announced, hey, we're going to go ahead and put turf in. So it's expensive. It's a lot of money on the front end, but it actually saves you money on the back end. You can generally, out of a field turf installation, you can get 20 years. Okay. All the money that you're going to put into resodding, fertilizing, watering, everything you've got to do to that thing, you're over a 20-year period of time, you're actually going to spend more money taking care of that field than you would just installing field turf.
Oh, wow.
Right. So, I know it seems, when I grew up, over in a little town in southern Illinois, we never saw field turf. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to remember the first high school that had it. I think O'Fallon, Illinois, or something like that. They had it. Of course, they have more money than who.
Yeah.
But the other side of it is when they first started doing like the AstroTurf, which is basically like carpet. You're getting a lot of injuries. And like, for example, the old Busch Stadium for a football configuration. You talk to people that played on that field, and they said it was like falling down on concrete with a little bit of carpeting on the top.
Right.
It hurt.
Most definitely.
And the field turf, if you've been on one of those, like at Mizzou or Kansas City or any of those other places, it's a different story. But obviously Chicago, they still have real grass.
Yeah.
And that's expensive. And the interesting thing is some of their field turf comes from right here. Keevan Sod Farm down there, they provide a lot of turf for sports venues. And I know that Soldier Field used to be, if they aren't still, was one of those venues they provided turf for. But they provide turf all over the place for teams that still have natural turf.
Very cool.
But, so I mean, just a little local connection there. But the technology that goes into that, and I mean, the main thing for both on the college and pro level is basically, how do I say this? It's engineered to prevent injuries. That's the main thing. That's what they want to prevent is injuries. And I think the field turf has done a pretty good job of that. You still get some ankle injuries and knee injuries, people getting their cleats stuck in it or whatever, but you have to deal with that. All right, it is 40 minutes after the hour of 5 o'clock. You're on the Newswatch Late Edition. We've got high school football about pregame in about an hour. Right now, let's get an update from the outside.
Good News Radio KYRO traffic. There are delays getting heavier on I-70 going west. You'll jam up briefly at Highway 79. Beyond that, you're trouble-free toward Wentzville towards 61. Now heading toward Lake St. Louis. Be prepared for a heavy backup on 64 west near 364. Otherwise, just a little sluggish around toward I-70. And Highway 79 going north off of I-70. You'll find brief delays all off and towards St. Paul around toward North Main Street. That's the latest News Radio KYRO traffic. I'm Rick Dixon.
News Radio KYRO weather from the Meyer & Company Real Estate and Auctions Weather Center, online at MeyerListings.com. Broken clouds in Troy, getting down to 68 overnight tonight. Friday's high will be in the upper 90s, heavy intensity rain likely. Temperatures in the upper 80s forecast on Saturday. Currently in Troy it's 95. In Warrenton it's 93 degrees. Perfect homes, commercial real estate or farm ground, Meyer & Company Real Estate and Auctions, online at MeyerListings.com. I'm Erica Walters.
The Wrecking Crew. What do you guys do here?
We recycle. Our typical business is picking up stuff that nobody else can get.
People may have a lot of money laying in their property and they just don't realize it.
They do. A lot of money sometimes, and not where you would think it would be.
Where are you located?
Troy, Winfield, Vandalia, Missouri. And we do boxes, trailers. We cut stuff up on site. We do insurance work. Farmers, if you have a burnt building or wind damaged building or grain bin, that's our specialty.
How do they get a hold of you?
Call me personally or call the office.
The Wrecking Crew. 636-462-1727.
And welcome back. It's 41 minutes after the hour of 5 o'clock, or 42 minutes actually now, from the Gateway Fiber Studios. This is Newswatch, late edition. He's Sarge, I'm Burgundy. And I'm going to be getting out of here in about 9 minutes or so. And Sarge is going to take us home. He's got all kinds of interesting information from around the Show Me State.
That's right.
We'll do that in just a minute. But once again, just to kind of run over what we've got coming up, we've got NASCAR on Sunday. We've got college football on Saturday. We have high school football Friday. We have high school football tonight. So are you ready?
And Mizzou football tonight as well.
Yeah, we'll catch whatever's left over from the Mizzou game, which I anticipate will be quite a bit. So, stay tuned for that. They have a 7 o'clock kickoff, and obviously throughout the Troy game, we'll keep you continually updated on the scores of the Mizzou-Murray State game. Also, we'll keep an eye on the Eastern Illinois game. They play tonight as well. That is an 8 o'clock kickoff.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be late night fun.
And I know there's, in Missouri anyway, 14 games for the high school football tonight that's going to be played.
Missouri has an issue, and it is an official shortage, and that has been going on since pre-COVID. And that's why you're seeing some of these scheduling anomalies to where games are getting moved to, I've seen games move to Thursday night, Friday night, obviously, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night. I've even seen games scheduled for Monday night. So generally they shy away from Sunday if they can get away from it, get away with it. That's kind of taboo scheduling the games on a Sunday, but they got to do what they got to do. I remember covering the Illinois State Baseball Championships up at Robin Roberts Field in Springfield one year, and I think we were following, if I'm not mistaken, Freeburg. And they were going to play, basically they play the semifinal games on Friday. They come back and they play the third place and championship games on Saturday. Well, it rained all day Saturday. So what they ended up doing is they ended up canceling the third place game, and we came back at noon on Sunday and played the championship game. And I that was the first time that ever happened in a state championship series in Illinois, and I think it's the only time that it's happened.
Wow.
Now I know, like in basketball season, they'll have some shootouts on a Sunday, but they really kind of stay away. And it used to be they'd stay away from scheduling stuff on Wednesday night too. That was considered church night,
right?
But yeah, I think that's good. I think that scheduling with respect to that. I think if Troy would have rather not played on a Thursday night. Obviously, you've got the competition of the Mizzou game going on. A lot of folks, and I know there's a ton of people from Troy, especially with Ja'Kai Lang, is going to be seeing playing time this year for Mizzou. I'm sure there's a lot of Troy folks that would really like to be out at Faurot Field tonight to watch that. But
but you're still going to have a packed house over there at
heavens,
Troy
yes.
High School.
Heavens, yes. And I think overwhelmingly, if you're a Troy Buchanan football fan, you're going to choose, staying home and watching the Troy game over going to Mizzou. I bet I still know some people here locally that are heading out to Faroe Field.
Yeah.
If you are, watch out for that construction on 70.
For sure.
Primarily in Ward and Montgomery County.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's a shame that it kind of worked out that way.
Yeah, and again, we're 1 hour away from the pregame show with yourself and Steve Runge, and you guys will be doing the broadcast starting at around about 7 o'clock for the game itself, and you guys are doing broadcast tonight, tomorrow night for the Winfield game as well, and I know you're super excited about this, but my question for you is, when was the last time that you yourself and Steve was able to actually sit down and do a game together, calling broadcasts?
We did last year.
Oh, you did last year?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, it's to a certain. No, I think we did one together last year. I was working down in Cape County back then, and before I moved back up here, and I think we did one, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I know I did a California game last year, but I think we did I don't know, man.
So I was trying to remember, and I couldn't remember if you had done one or not.
I've been doing games for 40 years. He's been doing games for almost 20 years. So I mean, that's a lot of games.
It's a lot of experience. That you're going to hear tonight come together.
But so I mean, it's a special, exciting time of year. Everybody, as of right now, is undefeated.
Yeah.
And there's expectations of having an improved or great season by everybody.
Everybody's got a chance.
Everybody's got a chance right now. Everybody's even in the state of Missouri, the state of Illinois. Everybody's got an equalized chance to do good or do bad.
And I was saying there's going to be 14 games tonight. Now, tomorrow night, 171 games on the Missouri side.
And then how many on Saturday afternoon?
They didn't say
generally
on that one.
Maybe 24.
Yeah, I was thinking it's probably a lower number.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what we look forward to every year.
Absolutely.
Football is by far my favorite game to broadcast. I look. People are going to hate to hear this. I kind of look at basketball and baseball as something to do when we're waiting for football season to come back.
I love it.
So, yeah, to me, I mean, watching it, broadcasting it, when I was young, playing it, I mean, it's just my favorite sport.
Yeah.
And just look forward to that every year. So that's what's going on. We have Steve Rugge, who just checked in via text. Looks like he's already over there.
Wow. Okay.
And getting ready. I know they got the big tailgate celebration. That's been going on for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
And they have all kinds of food trucks and stuff. I mean, they're really going all out at Troy. I mean, you've got a program status now. They're winning their games, the majority. And it's a far cry from what it was 12, 13 years ago when we first started covering, Troy sports.
Yeah. And I know coming from Troy to this afternoon at about 3:45, traffic was really starting to get thick even around about that time.
Well, it's bad every day. Hopefully the new exit they're putting in at 47 and 61 will, kind of improve things a little bit. But yeah, getting into the high school, you've got that single lane bridge that goes over the freeway. And, it's a challenge. You're going to sit in traffic a little bit, so you need to give yourself plenty of time to get in. But, so looking forward to high school football tonight right here on News Radio 1280, 105.3 KYRO. And, Sarge, what do you got coming up on Sunday on Uncensored Wrestling?
Well, Sunday we have got a wrestling trainee that's going to be in studio with us. His name is Nash Gilbo. And, of course, we will have superfan Tim Williams will be in studio with us as well. And possibly on the phone with us, the guest that we had last week, H.D. Daniels. And we'll be going over all the pay-per-views that happened last weekend and this weekend.
And I know you're going to talk about it in the next segment, but big doings going on over at the Race Wrestling Arena in Troy this weekend. Well, I'll let you talk about that as soon as we get through this break.
Sounds good.
So anyway, you're listening to News Watch Later Late Edition on News Radio KYRO. Once again, we'll be joining you with pregame just after 6:45 tonight from Troy High School, where Troy will be taking on Ladue. High school football tomorrow night, Winfield and Fort Zumwalt South.
Good News Radio KYRO traffic. There are delays getting heavier on I-70 going west. You'll jam up briefly at Highway 79. Beyond, that's your trouble-free toward Wentzville towards 61. Now heading toward Lake St. Louis. Be prepared for a heavy backup on 64 west near 364. Otherwise, just a little sluggish around toward I-70. And Highway 79 going north off of I-70. You'll find brief delays all off and towards St. Paul around toward North Main Street. That's the latest News Radio KYRO traffic. I'm Rick Dixon.
News Radio KYRO weather from the Meyer & Company Real Estate and Auctions Weather Center, online at MeyerListings.com. Scattered clouds in Troy, getting down to 68 overnight tonight. Friday's high will be in the upper 90s, heavy intensity rain likely. Temperatures in the upper 80s forecast on Saturday. Currently in Troy it's 95. In Wentzville it's 93 degrees. Perfect homes, commercial real estate or farm ground, Meyer & Company Real Estate and Auctions, online at MeyerListings.com. I'm Erica Walters.
You know, a lot of people have boats, RVs, horse trailers, all kinds of things. Have you ever thought about insuring them? Well, if you haven't, then you should. Safe Harbor Insurance. Over in Winfield, look them up on Facebook at Safe Harbor Insurance or give them a call at 668-6296. They're brokers, so they can save you money, protect your boat, RV, whatever it is you have. Safe Harbor Insurance. Give them a call at 636-668-6296 and see how much money Dave and Holly can save you.
Well, welcome back to Newswatch Late Edition with Sarge and Burgundy. And Burgundy has left the building on his way over to Troy to get set up to do the pregame with Steve Runge. Going to start at about 6:45 or so this evening. Cannot wait. There's going to be a fun time over there. And Burgundy had alluded earlier, just a little bit ago, about an event that's going to happen next Saturday, on Saturday the 7th. It'll be Stars and Stripes at the Race Wrestling Arena. And get your tickets right now at HarleyRace.com. And we have got some matches that have been announced over this last week that's going to be quite interesting to see happen here. It'll be Big Jack Parker Jr. taking on Astonishing Austin Mulitalo. And, of course, Mulitalo looking for some retribution against Jack Parker Jr. Also in action, we'll see the WLW Tag Team Champions Dysfunction, Brandon Espinoza and Kyle Roberts, going up against the Premier Campbell Myers and S.K. Bishop. And then also at the last event, one of the most recent graduates from the Harley Race Wrestling Academy made his debut in singles competition as Big Mike Maverick took on Blade Lennox. The Sergeant-at-Arms got a win from that 6'8", 275-pounder, but Maverick eliminated Blade later on in the Door to Destiny Rumble that evening. Both have asked to get a rematch, and it has been granted. So on September the 7th, you will see that match go on as well. Get your tickets again at HarleyRace.com. Don't wait around, because if you wait, you might miss out. At the last event, we didn't have one, but we had two sellouts for it. And what happened there was, it sold out about 4 or 5 days before the event. Some tickets were able to be released on that Friday afternoon beforehand, and again, it all sold out within about 2 hours of going on, on sale. So get your tickets now. Don't wait around. Again, HarleyRace.com. Earlier this week, St. Louis lost an icon. Ted Drews Jr. passed away at the age of 96. And, of course, that's from Ted Drews Frozen Custard. And some fun facts about Ted Drews Frozen Custard that I found throughout the week. The first one was built in Florida in 1929. And then in 1930, they opened up a location at the Natural Bridge Road and Goodfellow Avenue. And then another was opened in 1931 at 4224 South Grand Boulevard. And then 10 years later, a Chippewa Street location at 6726 Chippewa Street was opened. Now, by 1958, the shop in Florida and the one on Natural Bridge had closed, but the South Grand and the Chippewa locations still survive to this day. Now, Ted Drews Jr. expanded that Chippewa location to accommodate more customers and also took over selling Christmas trees on the parking lot after a partner had dropped out in 1954. And again, condolences to the Drews family and the fans of Drews frozen custard for Ted Drews Jr. again passing away this week at the age of 96. Now, also earlier this week, we had some new laws that went into effect today, and tomorrow I think that Burgundy and I will have a little discussion about these. And one of them is called the Valentine's Law, and that's named after the St. Louis County Detective Tony Valentine, who was killed during a police chase in 2021, and it criminalizes the act of fleeing police in a vehicle. Also, Max's Law, which is named for a police canine, and it makes the act of assault on a law enforcement animal a Class D misdemeanor. And then also Blair's Law bans celebratory gunfire with a charge of unlawful discharge of a firearm. So those new laws going into effect this week as well. Some other stuff that's been happening this week. We have been covering the hearing for a Marcellus Williams, excuse me, and that battle to stop the execution of that man that was convicted of the 1998 killing of a Post-Dispatch reporter continues in court. There is an evidentiary hearing for him in St. Louis County, and that execution date is still set for September the 24th. Now, the St. Louis County prosecuting attorney had filed to vacate the conviction because of alleged exculpatory DNA evidence. The conviction was vacated, and when Williams entered an Alford plea on resentencing to avoid the death penalty. However, Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey opposed the plea deal and went to the state Supreme Court. The court agreed with Bailey and tossed the case back to the county court for that evidentiary hearing. So we are waiting for word to find out exactly what happens with that. So again, tonight at about 6:45, we'll be throwing it out to John Shepard and Steve Runge for the pregame for Troy High School football, as they are going to be taking on Ladue Horton Watkins this evening. And then after that game is over with, we will join the Mizzou football Tigers as they are taking on Murray State in their home opener and season opener that is going on this evening. Tomorrow night here on the station, News Radio 105.3 FM, 1280 AM, KYRO. We will have the Winfield football high school game stream up on KYRO's Facebook page, Traveling East Productions Facebook page, and YouTube channel. So remember, you can always join in on the conversation and with your questions and your comments every single time for that. And we've got about 20 seconds. We'll go to the top of the hour. You'll hear Bill O'Reilly for a short time, and then again at 6:45 pregame with John Shepard and Steve Runge for the Troy High School football game this evening.
Live from the Gateway Fiber Studios, online at gatewayfiber.com. News Radio 105.3, 1280 KYRO Troy. It's 6 o'clock in the Heartland.
On Jack Callahan, Vice President Harris giving her first interview of the presidential campaign, telling CNN.
The most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed.
But her positions on several key issues appear to have evolved from previous public statements. That interview airs tonight. Former President Trump telling steelworkers at a plant in Michigan today.
This election is not a choice between Democrats and Republicans. It's a choice between communism and freedom. That's what it's about.
He'll speak later today in Wisconsin. The UN's nuclear watchdog agency says Iran has further increased its stockpile of uranium enriched to near weapons-grade levels. The World Health Organization says a series of 3-day pauses in the fighting in Gaza will permit them to vaccinate 640,000 children against polio. America is listening to Fox News.
It's 6:02 in East Central Missouri. Time for the news. Brought to you by American National Insurance to protect your operation. Named one of Forbes magazine's best insurance companies in 2024. And now the news.
Missouri Net News. I'm Elisa Nelson. The state of Missouri next week will begin enforcing Governor Mike Parson's executive order to crack down on psychoactive cannabis products. Parsons says the products being targeted are often packaged to look like candy. The Department of Health and Senior Services says the Secretary of State's rejection of an emergency rule by the governor has no impact on their enforcement. And a new Missouri law gives the Office of State Auditor more power to do its job investigating local governments and municipalities. Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick supports the law because it gives him subpoena power during an investigation.
During an investigation, prior to the passage of House Bill 2111 and Governor Parsons signing that, we don't have the authority to issue a subpoena.
And AAA says that the best time to travel by car this Labor Day weekend is Friday mornings and evenings, as well as on Saturday afternoon. This is Missouri Net.
Not everyone recognizes that they might have a gambling problem. How do you know if gambling is a problem for you? Ask yourself if either or both of the following questions are accurate. Have you felt the need to bet more and more money? Have you ever lied to people important to you about how much you gambled? If your answer is yes to either of these questions, free help is available. Call 1-888-BETS-OFF for more information.
7 million children suffer from asthma, more than any other chronic disease. Most asthma attacks are caused by allergic reactions to allergens, including those left behind by cockroaches and mice. In fact, 82% of U.S. households contain mouse allergens, and cockroaches are found in up to 98% of urban homes. How can you protect your family? Find out at pestworld.org. A message from the National Pest Management Association and the American College of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology.
This moment of calm is brought to you by American National. Because life on the farm is stressful and insurance shouldn't be. American National. Relax. We're here. American National Property and Casualty Company and Affiliates, Springfield, Missouri.
I'm Susan Lee, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stocks losing steam in late afternoon trading and ending mixed, but the Dow did notch a new record high, its 25th of the year, as investors digested a new batch of earnings reports and await fresh inflation data on Friday. The Dow up 244 points, the Nasdaq down 40, S&P 500 lower by a fraction. And Nvidia shares tumbled 6% after the AI chipmaker posted its latest financial results, which showed an earnings and revenue beat, and Nvidia issued an upbeat current quarter outlook. But investors were expecting an even stronger report. Lululemon Athletica delivered an earnings beat for its second quarter, but a sales miss, and the yoga wear maker and retailer cut its full-year outlook, further fueling investors' concerns that the years-long athleisure trend could be losing steam. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Hey, Donald Trump Jr. here. Central banks are buying gold at record amounts, and the trend is accelerating in 2024. They see the writing on the wall. The dollar is failing. Is gold the answer for you too? To find out, get a free info kit from Birch Gold Group by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. That's shelter to the number 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold, the only gold company I trust right now.
Message and data rates may apply.
Hi, BJ Walters here. Join us for the News Radio KYRO Sports Flash from the Old Monroe Lumber Company at CN79 in Old Monroe and online at omlumber.com on your home for the Chiefs, Blues, Mizzou, NASCAR, News Radio KYRO.
News Radio KYRO weather from the Meyer & Company Real Estate and Auctions Weather Center, online at meyerlistings.com. Scattered clouds in Troy, getting down to 68 overnight tonight. Friday's high will be in the upper 90s, heavy intensity rain likely. Temperatures in the upper 80s forecast on Saturday. Currently in Troy it's 95. In Wentzville it's 93 degrees. Perfect homes, commercial real estate or farm ground, Meyer & Company Real Estate and Auctions, online at meyerlistings.com. I'm Erica Walters.
As I've analyzed, the Republicans should win this election, not only the presidency, but the Senate and the House, easily. Easily. But it does not look like that's going to happen because the GOP and their candidate Donald Trump making too many mistakes. And it's not too late to course correct. They could zero in on what is really important to the American people, and that isn't skin color or crowd size. Okay? And I talk about that with Hannity on his radio program today. I've got it posted on BillO'Reilly.com. So I put 3 themes out that if Donald Trump would just basically hammer those 3 home, wherever he goes, and the Republicans would back him up, he'd win. The Talking Points memo this evening is about deceit at the grocery store. Now, this is issue number 1 that I talked to Hannity about. Everybody in this country has been negatively affected by the high price of food. Everybody. Even if you have billions of dollars, you're paying a lot more for food than you did 4 years ago. Fact. Kamala Harris will blame it on Trump, but everybody knows that's ridiculous. Biden did it, and I'll explain how. So, food prices under Biden-Harris up 20%. That's a lot. And that's according to the Federal Reserve Bank analyzing Bureau of Labor Statistics. You want backup? You want facts? You got it. 20% up. Have you heard that question be posed to Kamala Harris? No, because she doesn't take any questions. But that's question number 1. Madam, under your regime, under your administration, you and Joe Biden, food prices up 20%. Why? And she go, Trump did. But, Okay, now the reason food prices have spiked is because on day 1, when Biden walked in there and Kamala was following, he issued executive orders directed at crippling the American energy industry. All right? Let me repeat that. Executive orders to cripple the American